Take one. Take two. Hi all, it's Varick Rosete here. I am a UNF, UF, FSA alumni. Um, and first off, I just want to say congratulations to Def Talent Jam for being in its XXX year. That's 30 years, which is so crazy and awesome and amazing to believe that it started out so small and it's now so huge. Very proud of this thing growing as much as it has, and look forward to it continuing to be really awesome for everybody. My first Def Talent Jam was at the first one, 1993 at the Orange and Brew. I was a UNF student at the time, freshman or sophomore, and we were coming down to UF to take part in Rice Bowl, which is the UNF UF flag football game, and at the same time they came up with Def Talent Jam, which was like a nice get together for everyone to chill and relax, the night before, put on a show, have a good time. And I would say that there was a handful of acts, maybe 4 or so, and I don't know who came up with this idea from the UNF side, but I was all for it. It was me, Ken Panganiban, K-Dog, Norman Fajura, and our friend from Los Angeles visiting, Neil Tenza, that had this crazy idea of like, hey, let's take part in the talent show. Let's put something together real quick. And I was like, yeah, okay. No one said no. Let's put something together real quick. Sure, why not? Let's do like a step show. We can do something really easy, really quick, and it'll be great. And we'll have participated in the very first Def Talent Jam. So yeah, we went outside, and I can't remember if we did this before or after or during. I feel like it was somewhat before the show, and came up with something. And I just remember going inside, and I remember watching UF do a step show as well. There was definitely Walt. I feel like Alex was in there, maybe Mo, and maybe Ro. And they did this great step. I don't know if they had picked it up from Fresh Prince or not, but it was, they did it really well. They got the crowd hyped, and I feel like when we got up there to do our step, it was we wanted it to be hype. I remember distinctly Neil saying her war cry to get the crowd hype was FSA ho, and after that there was nothing. It was crickets. and the funny thing about that is I think we all get a good laugh about that, especially big brother Alex. He would always come up to me and be like, FSA ho, or just start giggling. But that was a great first Orange and Brew to get the two schools together to to chill, relax, become great friends, have great relationship. And it was definitely a fun thing to do something spontaneous and just get out in front of a crowd and just feel that although we had the crickets, everyone supported you, and cheered on, and those memories that happened after that. 1994, the second one, I remember Ken performed in that one and he actually won that one in 1994, doing Down with FSA, a parody on Down with OPP from Naughty by Nature, and he definitely got the crowd hyped for that. I didn't perform in that one, but they did call me on stage. I vaguely remember because they were showing off the Rice Bowl t-shirt designs, because I had started doing designs to commemorate the Rice Bowl game. But yeah, that was wild. 95, I was actually going to school now at UF. I transferred over, and definitely took part in the Def Talent Jam 1995 with my roommates, Roland Panganiban and Ernest Dalmiria. And there was a couple of others I feel like too, because we did like these short little skits, these interstitials that kept the crowd like hype, kept them laughing, kept them rolling, kept them entertained, which was a fun thing to do because they were like little small things. And for some reason, I do think we did like a little step show for that one too. We did a step show in barongs, and maybe we did something folk dancey, Filipino folk dancey with it too. I can't remember. And then let's see what happened in '96. '96, I was back at UNF, and I remember Ken performed again as K-Dog Jax. He did an original song, I believe, the first round, and he forgot his lyrics. And the second one, he did an encore with Down with FSA again. And with this one, you know, I'm hanging out with my former roommates because I'm back at UNF, and we're just catching up and stuff. And you could hear, I know there's videos of this because you could hear us in the back just screaming K-Dog's name the whole time. But when he did Down with FSA, we hopped on stage. We basically became his backing dance crew, just to keep the crowd hyped for him. That was a good fun time. That was I feel like that was like my last DTJ as a student, because the following year, '97, the venue changed from Orange and Brew to the Holiday Inn, and it was the first time in '97 we had a cross school collaboration between UCF and UNF, and actually we were all alumni as well, I believe so. It was Tux Taka, Scotty Pazal, Ken, me, Romelo Odvina, Dixon Blancas, Chris Garcia, and we did like this whole storyline, and we did like a song, and we did a rap, and we had this whole dance crew. It was this huge production that was crazy because we won that one, and that was like, okay, I've got a Def Talent Jam under my belt now. But again, it's crazy because it goes Holiday Inn is like the first one in that venue, I believe, and the crowds just kept getting bigger and bigger. After that, I may have come in attendance, but I don't think I performed after that anymore. I know in the early 2000s, attending Def Talent Jam, and this would be with Tito Felix, our friends from Georgia, who came and performed at one of the Def Talent Jams. And at that same time that they were doing Tito Felix, Ken and I were doing Chinolas Clothing Company, which was our little t-shirt apparel company that was based on Filipino culture and pop culture colliding together. And so we had actually set up shop at the Florida Theater, selling teas and catching up with friends and just saying like, oh my God, can you believe how big this thing's gotten? It's like, yeah, this thing's so huge. So we did that a couple of years, and then after that, you know, I would always catch the rumblings and hearing, and I definitely, you know, kept in tune with especially now seeing everything online, with the students continuing it on, and like it's crazy how it went from like, you know, this variety type show, and it started to mold itself into like this finite dance competition where these groups, you know, roll 20 plus people practically. You know, before, when, you know, you'd have one person on stage or maybe 4 people on stage, but now there's like 20, and there's costume changes and there's story, and it's like it's a pretty complex thing, and it makes me very proud to see like all the work that, you know, the participants go through and execute to the level of perfection, you know, precision and perfection that they you know, they want to win. But it is amazing to see how big this thing's gotten. And I congratulate Def Talent Jam. I congratulate everyone that's participated in it, everyone that's gone to it, because the biggest thing about Def Talent Jam I've always felt is the camaraderie. It was, you get to see all this crazy talent that you normally can't come across because just how big Florida is, or Georgia. Shoot, I don't know how are there other groups coming to Def Talent Jam that aren't in Florida and Georgia. Um, but the bigger thing is the relationships that you make, the people that you meet, just keeping in contact with everybody. And 30 years, and I'm sure Tux has mentioned this before. It's like you create these long lasting friendships in all these places. And that was my biggest takeaway. Was, well, okay, two takeaways. One, the idea of performing, it's getting that excitement level, feeling that adrenaline rush, and just getting out there and doing it, because no one's gonna boo you out there. Everyone is so happy and so excited that you got out there, and that's the biggest part. Like, it's a support. um, and it's crazy to see, like, just the amount of talent that we've got in our culture, in a just as a group. And so that was one takeaway. The second takeaway, the family, camaraderie, the relationships. That's big. It's huge. 'Cause there are a lot of memories that we have at Def Talent Gym, and it's always great when, like, Don or Walt or Tux posts something, and then you're just watching it. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Those are some wild times. So I'm very, very fortunate to have part, that to partake in, like, the very first one, and so those earlier ones, and there's just seeing this whole thing grow. So congratulations, Def Talent Jam. Happy XXX.